As always, whatever platform you're listening, be it live or the replay, thank you and welcome. Hey, Minnesota. Hey, Frankie. How are you? I don't know. This may be a short show today. Okay, let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about insanity. Is sanity just an excuse, or are people really insane? When people go to court and they plead temporary insanity, were you temporarily insane when you did whatever you did? Um, when people were committed to the crazy house way back when, um, were they really crazy? So first of all, you know, what is the definition of insanity? And according to Merriam-Webster, let me copy and paste here. Okay, insanity is an unsoundness of mind or lack of the ability to understand that prevents one from having the mental capacity required by law to enter into a particular relationship, status, or transaction, or that releases one from criminal or civil responsibility. So let's think about this for a moment. So let's say, and I'm going to put a trigger warning on this because this may trigger some people from what we're going to talk about or what I'm going to bring up. Let's say you see someone attacking your child or a member of your family or anyone. And you get so incensed, you're so triggered by what you're seeing that you pick up a knife, you pick up a gun, you pick up a baseball bat, you crowbar, whatever, and you shoot them 20 times, you stab them 50 times, you hit them in the head with the baseball bat, multiple times. You're arrested. Were you insane during that time? Any other time you would not have acted like that. You would not have behaved like that. But were you insane? So is insanity an excuse to get away with murder or to get away with doing certain things? Or were you really insane at that particular time? Were you temporarily insane? Now, if I'm walking around the street and I'm talking to myself, I'm just walking down the street talking to myself. Well, some people say that I was insane if or crazy if I were in a business suit. But if I was homeless and walking around the street barefoot and talking to myself, some people would say I was crazy. So does insanity and does craziness have a particular look? Does it have a particular MO? You know, uh, uh, does insanity, come with a playbook? That's what I would like to know. Does insanity come with a playbook? Do people look at certain people and immediately say they're crazy? If it was a homeless person that broke into your house and killed all of your pets, would people say they were insane or crazy? But if the lady next door who got up every day, she was a school teacher, she got dressed, looked very nice, went to work every day, but if she broke into your house and killed your family pets, would she be considered crazy? I mean, if we look at the definition of insanity to, and I'm mainly talking about criminal acts, to mental capacity required by law to enter into a particular relationship, status, or transaction, or that releases one from criminal or civil responsibility. So, what is considered insanity? If you're deemed insane, does that mean that you can't buy a house? If you can't, the mental capacity required to enter into a particular relationship, status, or transaction? How many people out there really are crazy or insane, but they're able to function in life? So, is being insane an excuse for some people? Or are they really insane? Do we have people who are just really um, just out there, but they go to work every day? They serve, in public offices. They teach, doctors, nurses, firemen, just regular everyday people. But they're able to cover it up. Is that possible? I mean, that's what I would like to know. Is that possible? I think it is. I think it's possible for people to pretend to be a certain way and they get away with it. I think it's possible to be completely off your rocker and be able to function in everyday life. So how many people actually beat the system when they go to court? How many people can uh, get away with um, saying they're insane? Hello, welcome. How many people can get away with saying they're insane and they really aren't? Does someone have to be insane if they kill their entire family? Do you have to be insane if you go on a rampage and you know, commit a um, mass shooting? Do you have to be insane, or do people know what they're doing? And if you did commit a mass shooting, can you double down and say, I was insane, I didn't know what I was doing? So instead of getting life in prison or the death penalty, which in some states like California is a joke, you know, instead you go to a mental institution where you can live out the rest of your days. Is the psychologist really able to say that someone is or is not insane when you say that, well, they're trained to do this? They're trained. But how many have gotten it wrong? After all, we do have people in prison that shouldn't be in prison for things that they didn't do. The system is not perfect. Neither are human beings. We're an imperfect species, and we frequently get things wrong. So again, you know, I ask, what is insanity? Is someone really insane, or an is it an excuse? Now they say that the insanity defense is there to differentiate people with a mental disability. Aren't we all temporarily insane at some point? Frankie says, yes, we are. Are we? Aren't we all? I mean, at some point, don't we all just kind of go crazy over certain things? Do you go temporarily insane if you come outside one day and you see that someone, you know, ran into your car and they kept going, and you're out there howling and screaming and you're pissed off? Is that temporary insanity, or are you just pissed? So was someone just pissed when they just decided to shoot up an entire movie theater or school? Were they just pissed that day? Did they get up and they were just pissed? Were these things brewing If you're in a domestic relationship and your husband or your wife, they're, or, you're sick and tired of your parents beating you, your husband beating you. And you pick up that gun or that knife or that baseball bat and you hit him upside the head and you killed him. Were you pissed off? Has that been building and building? Were you temporarily insane? That dog that you keep beating, that you keep abusing, and they finally turn on you. Was that dog just pissed? Or was he insane? Or you had to, well, that dog is out of control, we have to put him down? Should we put those dogs down? If that dog's been beaten by its owner day in and day out, doesn't that dog have a right to turn on its owner? I mean, after all, what do they say? You keep beating the dog one day, they're going to turn on you. So is that the same way with people? If people are getting abused, one day they're going to turn on you. Is that justifiable? Instead of pleading insane, should it just be justifiable homicide? Or, as some courts say, well, were you in danger right then and there? Were they coming at you? Did you have a fear? Why did you wait until they were asleep? You were not, in any harm at that point. But you knew that when that person woke up, you were going to be in harm's way. So what is insanity? Is pleading insanity and justifiable homicide the same thing? If absolutely, I say yes. I think they're similar. I mean, if a child is repeatedly beaten by their parents and they premeditate that this particular day when their parent comes home, or parents, whatever, whomever, they come home, that this is what they're going to do to their parents to get rid of them. It's premeditated. Is it justifiable? See, our justice system is not, to me, always fair. And they don't always get it right. Why do you have to wait until someone gets hurt? Why do you have to wait until someone dies before they finally do something? Where's the preventative measure? But then when the person who is being abused does something, they're arrested, and more than likely they're going to go to jail. Or, depending upon how much money you have, and you have a good attorney, you can get off. So you probably have a lot of people who are disadvantaged in prison for the same thing that someone who has money did. But the person with money, they're out walking around free, and the person who's disadvantaged are spending years or a lifetime in prison. So again, I say, do you plead insanity, or is that justifiable homicide? EBO, welcome. I mean, because it, you know, it's just crazy to me to think that you can have someone that's abusing you and beating you, and you try to get help, but no one helps you. And if you kill them or seriously injure them, you're on your way to prison. But if I plead insane or temporarily insanity, there's that possibility, maybe I will get off. And then again, I still compare the dog analogy. If you keep beating your dog and your dog turns on you, you're ready to put that dog down, or that dog is deemed out of control. But didn't that dog have a right to turn on its owner because he was being abused every day? So is pleading insanity or temporary insanity the same thing as justifiable homicide? Because I think, as I said, we all have triggers. We don't know what's going to trigger us, but I think we all have triggers to be able to go there. I think something can happen in our lives where we see something, whether, you know, be our children, our pets, a friend, whatever, that we can actually go crazy and go there. Is it temporary insanity? Is road rage? Is that temporary insanity? Welcome, Josie. Welcome, Power Girl. You know, is that temporary insanity? If somebody cuts you off in traffic and you've just been having a bad day, you know, I mean, people have been cutting you off in traffic all day long. All you're trying to do is get home. And finally, this one person cuts you off in traffic and they give you the finger. And that just, you know, and you're just done. So you cut them off. You get out of your car. And you're banging on your car. You know, you're telling them, get out, get out, get out, get out, you know, whatever. Maybe you go back to your car and you get your gun and you shoot them. Any other time you were this nice, quiet, meek person. But this particular day, you were just pissed. Were you temporarily insane? Or were you just pissed off? You know, so again, the person who is what do I want to say? The person who is um, who kills their entire family. They get up one day and they kill their entire family. Were they just pissed off that day? Was it something they were planning? Were they just pissed off? Were they temporarily insane, or were they cold-blooded murderers? On the outset, we would probably say cold-blooded. But then again, you don't know what's going on in people's lives. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know what people are going through. You know, you don't know. That lady who you see at the market every day was her eyes covered with a pair of shades. She's covering two black eyes. One day there's this commotion and you hear that, you see her walking out in handcuffs. She killed her husband. Her husband's been beating on her for the last 2-3 years. She pleads temporary insanity. But she killed him when he went to sleep. See, the courts can make it seem like it's premeditated, and it was if she waited until he went to sleep. Was it justifiable? Was she insane? Or was she a cold-blooded murderer? So again, is insanity just an excuse? Or is it something that people truly they truly are? I mean, back in the 16, 17, 18, the centuries, or, people were deemed crazy. They went to the crazy house, the mental institution, whatever. Were they really crazy? And again, I ask, if you see someone in a suit and looking really nice, walking down the street, talking to themselves, just babbling to themselves. They're not talking on a cell phone. They're just talking to themselves. You get on the subway, somebody's just sitting there just talking to themselves. But they're nicely dressed and everything. Do you just look at them and say, oh, they're just talking to themselves? Or would you say that they were crazy? But again, I say you have that homeless person who's barefoot, dirty. They're walking down the street talking to themselves. They're on the subway talking to themselves. And we think they're crazy or insane. Is that fair? Does insanity have a particular look? Does insanity look a certain way? Nadine, welcome. Does insanity look a certain way? Does insanity, have a particular MO? Is it fair for us to look at a homeless person and say that just because they're talking to themselves and and, babbling out loud that they're crazy or insane. But that same person who, like I said, has on a suit and tie or a nice dress or whatever, and they're doing the same thing, they're just talking to themselves. Does society automatically stereotype what insanity is supposed to look like? And if that homeless person who was talking to themselves and barefoot and dirty stabbed a woman for what we think was no reason, well, we consider them insane. But if this person in the suit and tie just stabbed a woman or man, whatever, with what we consider no reason, will we consider them not insane? Does society prejudge people a certain way? So on the one hand, we're prejudging this homeless person for being insane because they're talking to themselves, but they stabbed someone, so we're going to say, well, they were insane. But the person walking down the street with a suit and tie who's about to go to work could be an attorney, could work on Wall Street, whatever. They're talking to themselves. We don't consider them insane, but if they stab someone, they're a cold-blooded murder. Probably. That's what we would do. Not saying we would. I'm saying that there's that probability that we would do something like that, or we would judge people like that. I think so, Minnesota. I mean, people, again, I'll put this up here again for people who just came into the room. The definition again, Merriam-Webster's definition of insanity: unsoundness of mind or lack of the ability to understand that prevents one from having the mental capacity required by law to enter into a particular relationship, status, or transaction, or that releases one from criminal or civil responsibility. But I truly believe that there are people who are insane, who are walking around every day, but we don't know it. Even though we have a definition of insanity, I mean, what is insanity? Is it someone that's walking back and forth and they're pacing in a circle and they're talking to themselves? Is it someone that's in a padded cell and they're hitting them, banging their head up against the wall? Is it someone who is scratching their wrist with a pencil? Or what is insanity? Are there people walking amongst us that are insane and we don't know it? Or crazy? You know, when we listen to people talk and or give speeches or something, or we go to school and we hear our teacher and we say something like, "Oh, that's crazy," or you know, "They're crazy," or that's insane. Is it really, or is it just a metaphor that we're using? Are those people really crazy? Is what they're saying really crazy? Is what they're saying really insane? You know, should some of the things that people say, should we take a second look at what they're saying? That person who went and shot up that movie theater, should we have listened to them just a little bit more? And I'm going to go a little, I'm going to dive a little deeper here because it says, or that releases one from criminal or civil responsibility. Can someone who's a pedophile and they get caught, can they say they were insane or plead temporary insanity because they didn't know what they were doing? Does insanity mean that you can't tell the difference between right and wrong? If you rob a bank, can you say I was in so much debt? I was temporarily insane, so I took a gun and I went up to that teller and I told her to give me, you know, all the money in her cash drawer. Is that temporary insanity? Or were you just a thief? Does insanity have triggers? If someone murdered a family member or close friend and they got 25 years, they did their time. They went to prison. They did their entire time and they got out. And you saw them and you killed them. Were you temporarily insane because you were triggered that you saw them? Or that you knew they were getting out and you just could not stand the fact that they're walking around while your loved one is gone? You know, when you see those instances on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and you know, people are giving their victim statement, and they turn around, they lunge at the defendant, or the defendant is up there saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." And you lunge at them. Are you temporarily insane or are you just pissed? Can you be so mad that you're insane? Is that possible? Can a psychiatrist or psychologist tell me that I'm not or I am? When people say, well, people just don't do that, people do a lot of things. Just because you wouldn't do it or I wouldn't do it doesn't mean that that person wasn't feeling a particular way. So, those are my questions. Thank you, Minnesota. Those are my questions. You got a lot of variables here, a lot of them. Are they justifiable? Maybe, maybe not. Some people say yes, some people say no. But I think it's something to think about. So, anyway, that's all I have today, y'all. I did not get a chance once again to upload a song, so I am going to play. I'll leave you guys with a little bit of Al Green today. But as always, thank you for coming. Thank you for liking the show. Thank you for the gifts. And here we go. Al Green for the good times.
Don't look so sad. I know it's so bad. But life goes on, and this world keeps on turning. Let's just be glad we had this time to spend it together. There is no need to watch the bridges that will burn. Lay your head on my pillow, sweet babe. Hold your warm and tender body close to mine. Hear the whisper of the raindrops roll softly against my window. All late at night. Lately, you love me one more time. For the good times. For the good times. I'll get along, and I'm sure to find another. Baby, please remember be here. I'm gonna stay right here. If you should ever find you need me, yeah, don't say a word about tomorrow or forever and ever and ever and ever. There'll be time eating up the severance when you leave me. For the good time, for the good time. Lay your head. On my pillow. Oh, this is one time, girl. Hold your warm and tender body close to mine. Oh, baby, won't you hear that whisper? Hear that whisper? Oh, the raindrops, oh, the raindrops, blowing softly, softly against my window. Oh, oh, oh. All you gotta do is, all you gotta do is make believe you love me one more time. For the good time. For the good times. Here's what you ought to do is lay your head on my pillow. I just wanna hold you warm, tender loving close to my heart.
And that's it, everyone. Thank you so much for coming and listening to me and liking the show and the gifts. Much appreciated. And again, whatever platform you're listening, thank you very much. And I will be back tomorrow. So until then, everyone, enjoy your day or evening wherever you are. And I hope to see you tomorrow. Bye.